What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Token Black, aka Don Zalug. I make sure everybody eats. And we get right into it over here. At the top, that's me playing Vayusworn, my man John at the bottom playing his version of Quick Draw Dandy Warrior, I believe. He's got a couple cards in there, tech choices that he really feels match more with his play style. So let's see, I didn't get to see. So John's gonna go first with the Allure of Darkness, drawing two cards off the top to start the game off, especially with the Allure being at 1. That's a good card to draw. And I'm gonna assume he has a target, so he's gonna banish the Sangam, which is a really good start. Set a monster and set a back row. So a lot of options on what that could be. Possibly a Raikou, possibly a hamster. I'm gonna go ahead and summon that card trooper mill, dark armed, solar recharge, and necro gardener. Pretty good mill here. Understanding that it was possibly a Raikou, you want to go with the card trooper because you're gonna get that plus off of the effect. So especially if you leave the card trooper as the only thing that they can destroy with the Raikou, they're gonna go ahead and do that just to get those mills off. So I got that +1 off the card trooper, pass it over, and he set another monster. So again, is that another Raikou? It's very possible it could be another Raikou. He even milled one too, so he milled a Raikou off of his first mill. The chances of it are very low. Let's see what it is. Sirocco is going to attack into it, and it is a Gravekeeper's Spy. Like I said, oh, this is Cat. He's playing Cat. So I said Quick Draw Dandy Warrior in the beginning, but he's playing Cat. The Spy going to go ahead and get the Descendant. That'll give him that ability to pop something on his turn. So I probably don't want to leave too much stuff on board, especially knowing what the possibility of the play is. And Gravekeeper Spy is a good card, a great card in GOAT format. Has taken over GOAT format the last time I checked. But even seeing it here in Edison format just feels really good, just feels right. Level 4 spellcaster monster with 2,000 defense. You can't really beat that. And especially with Descendant. I don't know if Recruiter was out yet, but this ability to pop here is really good. Get that Sirocco in the graveyard. Now he has an open field and attacks for 15. So that's going to be my first damage. So I'm going to go ahead and draw a card. Again, open field, Necro Garden and Grave, which doesn't really do much right now, but later in the game is going to be a lot more impactful. In Vayusworn, again, another set monster here in Vayusworn. Could be a Raikou, could be a hamster. There's a lot of options. John's going to go ahead and attack that face down, and it is a Raikou. So Raikou here is going to pop the Descendant, Raikou Mill, Monster Reincarnation, Raikou, and Solar Recharge. So off of my Raikou, I milled a recharge, or off of my Raikou, I milled a Raikou. Off of his first Raikou, he milled a Raikou. And then we're going to see Pot of Avarice. Targets are going to be 2 Raikou, a hamster, a spy, and a Descendant. He filled his graveyard up pretty fast just off of that first Raikou mill, and then getting 2 monsters off the spy engraved, the spy and the Descendant. Pot of Avarice is just a really good card. Put your engine back into the deck and draw 2. It's just really good, and I can see why some builds are playing 3. Personally, I don't really want to draw it turn 1, so I find myself playing 2 in most builds that I do run it in. But let me know in the comments what you guys are thinking on Pot of Avarice. You know, it's just a good card. So it's my turn. I'm thinking I'm gonna go ahead and heavy storm the 2 back row. Let's see what they are. An enemy controller and an MST. I've been seeing a lot more draw traps, so even going into the heavy there was a thought process of what if one of these is probably a jar, one of these might be a legacy of Yada, something like that. but I attack with the Arcus into another spy. So now he's got 2 spies on board. Like I said, Pot of Avarice did put the engine back in the deck, so the whole spy engine has started over. So let's see. I'm gonna have to talk about that glare. Oh, I did take 800 off the Arcus attacking into the spy. Spy's just insane. 2,000 defense is just crazy. So we got John. John's turn. Right now he's reading the Arcus. So Arcus is a really good card. It says that you can't target Lightsworns. Nobody can target Lightsworns. So Lumina is not able to target, but also your opponent can't target your Lightsworn monsters as well. I don't really like Arcus, I'm not gonna lie. In this build I got from John. So shout out my man John. He has every deck in Edison format ready to go, ready to play. So we're able to get these decks. I don't really change them too much because he played back in those days. He kind of understands the card choices and things like that. So I don't really change the builds too much, but I personally probably wouldn't play Arcus in any other capacity, honestly. Being very defensive here and not really doing too much, just leaving the Arcus on board, probably having Honest in hand, where John is also playing the defensive game, where he's keeping his spies in defense mode and not really doing too much with them. I'm going to come down with the Cold Wave. He'll chain Threatening Roar. So we're looking at 2 spy and 1 back row under the Cold Wave. Cold Wave I love as a card. I play Cold Wave in Lightsworns. I used to play it in Glad Beast, but it didn't really work as much in Glad Beast. Gonna sacrifice the Arcus for a Celestia. Let's see what we're gonna target. Let me know in the comments what you'd target here. But Celestia is gonna go ahead and hit the Torrential and one of the spies. We'll mill with the Celestia, and next time I'll make it so that you guys can see the mills. But I fanned my graveyard out pretty crazy, and it looks like I milled 2 wolf. Oh my goodness. Looks like I milled 2 wolf, which is pretty good. I'd be able to attack over the spy if he didn't Threatening Roar, but having 2 wolf on board off of the Celestia is just really good, especially when he's under a Cold Wave. So we're going to activate the Plague here. Plague and Wolf, most likely going to go for Brio here. Yeah, Brio. Going to discard a Brain Control and then send the Spy back to the hand. Again, I did get hit with the Threatening Roar, so there's not really much he can do to get out of this, especially when he's playing more of a defensive game with the spies and things like that. He'd have to board wipe or something like that. So I do see the Cyber Dragon coming down. Cyber Dragon's gonna hit the board. Let's see if he's got an Honest. Let's see what he's got to try to get over this board right now. Cyber Dragon into the Caius. Caius gonna hit the Celestia, banish that. Again, he's still under the Cold Wave there. Still under the Cold Wave. Gonna go ahead and attack the Brio. I think in any capacity where you Cyber Dragon and then Cyber Dragon and then Caius, your hand isn't all that great. I could have used the Necro Gardener to save the Brio there. I wouldn't say misplay, just a play that I'm seeing now. But I could have Necro Gardener to save the Brio there. And also, he did set a monster after normal summoning the Caius in the same turn. None of that matters because I drew Judgment Dragon. So Judgment Dragon is going to blow the board up. I'm going to check and see what he has in the graveyard. And we'll be able to attack for 3,000 here. Another Judgment Dragon. So double Judgment Dragon. Gonna go ahead and get in there. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Shout out Judgment Dragon. Shout out Vayusworn. His hand wasn't all that great. Again, most likely why he was playing the defensive game with the spies and all that. But like I said, if you're Cyber Dragoning and if you're going Cyber Dragon and into Caius, your hand isn't that great from the beginning. So let's get into game two. All right, so we are back. This is game two. This is me at the top playing Vayusworn, John at the bottom playing Cat Synchro. Double Judgment Dragon, you can't really beat that. And then the Cold Wave plus Celestia double Wolf Mill really set all of that up. So I'm going to go and set a monster. Again, this is Vayusworn. It could be a Raikou, could be a hamster. We don't know. And since we're in game two, let's talk about Trap Card 2. Trap Card 2 is the only Yu-Gi-Oh! Mixtape. It's playing in your ear right now. I got that. I got Trap Card the Mixtape, which is the first one, going crazy. Set Necro Gardener. He's going to get in there with the Arabellum, but I'm going to activate the Necro Gardener to stop the Arabellum attack from going through. That's going to save the cards in my hand. I'm going to assume that my hand is pretty good if I use the Necro Gardener that early. I'm going to assume that my hand is pretty good, and I want to keep access to what I have. So John's going to go ahead and activate Instant Fusion, take 1,000 life points, and special summon the level 5 Reaper. I'm anticipating a Stardust here. I'm anticipating a Stardust with the Reaper and the Arabellum. Oh, he goes for Dark End Dragon. Okay, he goes for Dark End Dragon. Now, I'm going to try to understand his thought process here, going Dark End Dragon when I don't have a board. Maybe he's trying to play for the defensive game. He's playing for me to set a Raikou, playing for me to set a hamster so that he can blow it up with the Dark End Dragon, and I won't be able to get an effect off of it. Which, if that is the case, would be pretty good, because not only does he have the Dark End Dragon to pop the monster, but he has a Cyber Dragon on board as well to be able to do other things, you know. He can either take the Cyber Dragon and attack with it, or tribute it for a Caius. So I'm going to go ahead and set a monster. He's going to flip the Spy here, most likely get a Descendant. And yeah, he has multiple ways to get rid of my monster now. I know it's not a Raikou. It is a Plague Spreader. So Plague Spreader going to hit the grave. I'll get hit for 15. Then I'll get hit for 21. And on the 21, I'm going to go ahead and Gores. So he used the Dark End effect. That's why the Gores is at, the Gores token is at 21, because Dark End Dragon loses 500 when it activates its effect. Now he attacks with the Dark End Dragon here, and I'm going to go ahead and Honest. I put the token in attack mode knowing that I had an Honest in hand. So if he was to get greedy, I'd be able to capitalize off that. Gore's tokens are light monsters, people. Gore's tokens are light monsters, so always remember that. John's going to end his turn on Cyber Dragon, Descendant, and one back row. So I'll go ahead and draw. The Gore's play there was pretty big. Could be the turning point of the game to get me back into the game, because now I have pressure. I have the Plague Spreader Plague Spreader in grave right now, which doesn't really do much, but I think later in the game, having it in the graveyard and being able to go into some synchro plays will be, you know, pretty good for advantage gain. Gore is going to attack over the Descendant. Not wanting to attack over the Cyber Dragon here, just allow the Cyber Dragon to do what Cyber Dragon does. It can't get over Gores. It can't get over the token, but a Descendant plus a normal summon spy or a set spy into defensive play could really do some things. So I allowed the Gores to, or I allowed the Cyber Dragon to stay on board. John's gonna go ahead and brain control my Gores. Let's see what he's gonna do with it. This is Vayusworn, but we've really only seen one Blackwing monster in this entire game, which was Sirocco in game 1. So as John thinks right now, let me know in the comments, what is your favorite Edison deck? What do you play in Edison, and did you play back in the day? Back in 2010. I'll let you know right now, I did. I played back in the day. I played Blackwings, I played Glad Beast, and those are the decks that I'm playing as of right now. So John's gonna attack the Gores, attack the face down monster, which is a Raikou. Raikou is going to target. I'm not gonna target the Gores because I'll be getting that back off brain control, and I don't know what that back row is. So I'm gonna target the back row. Mill Raikou, Solar Recharge, and Charge. Wow, that was an insane mill. Insane in a negative sense because those are good cards. Those are really good cards. The second time we've seen Raikou Miller, or the third time we've seen Raikou Miller Raikou, second on my side. John's gonna go ahead and get the soul release that he sided in. So he'll be hitting Plague and double Raikou on my side. I don't think he's banishing anything on his board. Soul Release is a very good card against Vayusworn. People are also citing DD Crows. You might see a D Fissure or something like that. But Soul Release is just a really good card. We're going to see the Instant Fusion play come down. And he's going to Instant Fusion and tribute my Gores so that I don't get it back, plus that monster for his Gores, which is a pretty good play, but I think Instant Fusion says you can't tribute the monster. I'm not looking at it right now, but I think Instant Fusion says you can't tribute the monster. I'm going to go ahead and take my turn to brain control the Cyber Dragon and attack over the Gores. And that timer is telling me it's time to get out of here. The game is done. It's time to wrap it up, man. Shout out to my man, John. If there were any plays that you saw that either didn't make sense or anything like that, let me know. If you have any questions, let me know. And make sure you subscribe for more Edison games. We've got, like I said, John has access to every deck in Edison. So Glad Beast, Blackwings, Machina, Gemini Hero Beat, Plants, all of that. So make sure you hit that sub button, rock with me on TikTok, Instagram, and I'm out of here, man. Y'all have an amazing day.